right, Daniel, welcome to Keeping Up with College. I'm Ayana. I'm the host of this new interview series over Zoom. And yeah, it's kind of just getting to know you guys that are over there in the States right now. Any past college athletes, and for the kids that are going over soon. So that's you. You want to just introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, if you've committed to a school yet or not, or where you're hoping to go with that. So, yeah.
I'm Daniel. I'm 18 years old. I'm a goalkeeper. I play football, so I committed to Indian Hills in Iowa, JUCO D1, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Awesome. Um, Iowa, do you know much about Iowa or
Just like, cornfields and country
great
people. I don't
corn?
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to school in Nebraska and Nebraska and Iowa are side by side. And yep, that's pretty much all it is. It's just straight corn. It's cold. Um, Quite a bit of snow over there in the Midwest, which is always fun. Dry weather, cold, dry weather. So, but the summers are really fun. And
Yeah.
these colleges in the Midwest, they're very much in a what we call like a college town. Like this town is pretty much built and lived by these college students. So it's gonna be like college, like a school, but it's also gonna feel like the city is basically all college students. So which is really cool. It kind of fits in really well. Okay, so let's talk about how you decided or why you decided to go to the US and like what inspired you to sort of take this journey.
Um, I mean, sort of a number of reasons. Like, obviously, I love my football, but I don't think I can get a professional contract just yet.
Yeah.
So going to the US is kind of still a step forward with my football. It's taking me towards where I want to be with it, but I also have what I want to fall back on, like a college degree. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with my life, and just going to the US helps me keep all my options open.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. That's perfect. It's always nice to yes, sort of pursue soccer or your sport as the main goal, but also getting an education and a free one at that, or at least, debt free. You don't have any HEX fees. That's
Yeah,
always like a better, in my opinion, a better pathway for us young adults who, don't know what they're going to do with, their lives and what they want to do, but it's a good guide and it's a great direction to go in. So don't stress about what you don't want to do. I thought I was going to go in as yeah, a paramedicine major. I wanted to study emergency medicine and I switched my major about two times. So, but all of those decisions sort of led me to where I am now. So I came in 2019. I was like, I want to do paramedics. I was studying biology, all the core subjects that you needed to know um, as a paramedic major. And then I went to graphic design. And then I ended up as a journalism major. So, things happen for a reason. So just use it
yeah,
as a guide and, see where life takes you, basically.
yeah, right.
Okay, so you joined with Green Room Futures. How has the process been like for you? Like, when did you start with us? Is Matt your first point of contact, or is Jacob, or are they both? And how have they sort of helped you in this process to find Indian Hills?
Well, I found Green Room Futures through one of my coaches. He got me in contact with Matt,
Yeah,
and first interview I had with him, he sort of just explained to me the whole process. He was very clear and honest about how everything would work, told me how much it would cost, what my options were realistically, and then yeah, decided to go ahead with Green Room Futures.
yeah.
Waited, I think it was like 1 or 2 months, and then told me about Indian Hills. So that was
That's
it. It was
pretty
pretty
cool.
quick, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a super quick turnaround, like joining with us and then in a couple months, you get your first you get your first look in, your first sort of contract, I guess. And yeah, are you heading over to the US in this year in August?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And when did you join Green Room Futures?
I'm not sure. I think it was like mid last year, maybe.
Okay, yeah. That's a good timeline or like the turnaround for when you graduate high school to sort of finding something a school before you actually head off in August of that year. So when did
Yeah.
you graduate high school?
2023.
Okay, okay. So you've had a couple years outside of high school now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, good. Have you been just taking gap years, or have you been sort of studying here in Australia?
Um, well, I sort of tried to see what I could do with my football. I went to go play in Thailand.
Oh yeah.
Went to go play in Spain as well for a while,
Yeah.
but yeah, nothing really came of it. So
Were
decided
those
on the career
like
pathway.
were those contracts or were those just like tournaments or
When I went to Thailand, I went there to play against a bunch of pro academies, and then we also played a tournament. And
yeah.
then in Spain, I joined a club for 6 months.
Okay, cool. How was that experience?
Yeah, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a bit difficult away from my family, different language that I didn't know,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff, but good
Yeah.
experience. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Language barrier is really hard. I went to Japan for 6 months. So I know how you feel with like language barriers and not being able to sort of communicate your needs properly. And yeah, being away from home is it's always tough. So how do you think you'll cope being in the US? Obviously, English, languages will be fine. Maybe slang words will be a bit different here and there, but
Yeah.
how do you think you'll cope being, that far away from your home?
Yeah, I think, I've sort of experienced it already.
Yeah,
So yeah, like I've already gotten past that first sort of learning curve, and now it's just
yeah,
doing it again.
yeah. Like you have that experience, you know what it's like, and you can sort of like control it in your own way.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
And the good thing about like colleges is that like I guess it's like school here with terms, but we don't have that many breaks. But with these semesters, like you can go in August, you'll play out the semester and you'll be just so busy you won't even be able to think about, what's going on back home or whatever. And then, come Christmas time, you'll be able to, if you're able to, you can come home, spend Christmas with the family a good month, and then go back at it for the spring semester. And then summer holidays are a bit nicer. You get a bit more time. So you can come home and spend a bit more time at home. But honestly, you'll just be so busy that you won't even be able to think about anything else other than football in school. So, which
Yeah,
I don't know if you like that, but I personally loved that. I loved having a routine and like lots to do, basically. Okay, so do you know what you are planning to study over in the US, or are you going to go for general studies?
I chose like a Bachelor of Arts in Business.
Hmm.
So I'm not really sure what I want to major in or anything like that.
Yeah,
But with the junior codes, it's good. So you
yeah,
got time to decide.
yeah. The great thing about junior colleges is that they really get like they focus on your core subjects and what you need to get done and out of the way before you move on to a 4-year college where you can really get specific with your degree. So what I did when I went to my junior college was that I entered like a general studies degree. My focus was paramedicine at the time, but it was more like general studies. So like your English, your math, your speech classes, your general biology, and then whatever else you needed to sort of get done first so that those core subjects are out of the way. And then once you get to your four-year college, you can then get focused into, say, if you do business, you can do statistics or analytics or anything, that's really focused on your degree, which is the good thing about, well, all schools, but junior colleges at that. So yeah, that's cool. Okay. Have you ever actually been to the US before, or is this like your first time?
Yeah. My mum used to go to Stanford. She was there, or she was living in the US for like 10 years or something.
Wow.
So we went back there when I was a lot younger. We went and saw where she like studied, where she lived, met
Yeah.
all her old friends and stuff.
Stanford
And
is huge.
yeah,
Was she just a student there or a student athlete?
she was just a student.
Pretty smart student, I'd say.
Yeah,
What was she
yeah.
studying there? Do you know?
Chemistry, and she did masters in something. I'm not sure.
Oh my goodness. I would love to meet your mum. That is so cool. So I was gonna say, like, how does mum feel? How does dad feel about you going off to the States? But I'm assuming mum would be all about it because she's done it before.
Yeah. Well, both my parents are pretty keen for it.
Yeah.
They both work in universities. They both like worked with a lot of universities in the US as well. So they
Okay.
know how, the whole program works, how everything goes. They understand how valuable of an opportunity it is.
That's really handy. Yeah. I guess they'll really be on top of you with your GPA. I feel like
Yeah.
not many people know, what the numbers mean in a GPA, but I feel like mum and dad will crack down on you.
Yeah. Well, if I want to follow in my mom's footsteps, I gotta be aiming for that 4.0.
Yeah. Is your goal something like Stanford, like an Ivy League or
I mean, if the opportunity's there, I'll 100% take it, but you got to be realistic as well.
yeah. Yeah. I think I see this is where I'd love to talk to your mum, but I think there's like sort of a certain standard that you have to reach GPA wise and SAT score wise that you need to reach before you can even consider applying to places like Stanford and um MIT and yeah, all of those big name schools. So that'd be a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so does the US like does it scare you in any way? Like, is there something that you'd like to know beforehand, or is this kind of like a new experience and that you just have open arms with?
Yeah. I'm just excited for it. I can't wait to get started.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about going to the US since grade 9, grade 10,
yeah,
but yeah, like it's kind of surreal that it's actually happening now.
yeah, that's cool. So like, what are your long-term goals, academically and athletically as well? Basically
Um,
finish out your 4 years with soccer and continue it and maybe try pro afterwards. Is that like something you want to do? And
yeah, definitely. I think, there's some leagues in the world where you can make a lot of money while not being a great footballer, go to Thailand or Dubai. So it'd
yeah,
be
for sure.
nice after college to end up somewhere like that. But
Hmm.
obviously if not, I got that degree to fall back on.
Yeah. So with like your degree, whatever you are going to pursue, is it something like you want to just get your degree and sort of get a job out of it, or are you sort of just like using college as a way to improve your football?
Um, well, I'd say I got like a bit of like an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
So, with a business degree, I can have the skills, the capability to start my own business, to
Yeah.
go after my own goals.
Yeah, a lot of internationals do business degrees. A lot of my European friends were all business majors, and um, for example, like the cost of living in Spain is quite high. I'm sure you might know. Um, and a lot what my roommate did and what a lot of her, Spanish/European friends would do is to sort of get their degree in the US and use sport as their way to get a degree, which most of it was most of them were business majors. Um, and sort of get their degree in the US, work in the US and stay in the US for the next couple of years, sort of work your way up to be sort of financially stable, and then use that to go back home to Spain or anywhere in Europe and um, sort of financially be okay. Because well, at least from what I've heard is that Spain living over there is just it's tough financially. So yeah, that's the point is lots of internationals do business degrees because it's worth your while and it can take you worldwide. Whereas like if paramedicine is probably a bad play on my part, but if I was to study paramedicine in the US or any sort of medicine, it wouldn't really translate back here. There are ethics to think about. There are different practices, different medicines, names of medicines as well, names of practices. Like it's just they're all so different wherever you go in the world. So I would have had to do a bridging course or sort of re-study paramedicine in Australia. So it just didn't really make sense. So that's why I made my switch. So I think business is it's a very good degree to get into. And if you're an entrepreneurial mindset, like you say, then it's perfect for you. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so you committed to Indian Hills. What were the reasons as to why you committed there? Like, was it just the school looked fantastic? Was it the football program? Was it your first one, your first offer that you got?
Yeah, it was the first offer I got.
Mhm.
Um, when I first spoke with Matt, he was telling me that JUCO is probably the best way to go as an international student. So yeah, I said, yeah, let's go for a JUCO. And the first offer that came in was Indian Hills, and at the time they were number one ranked JUCO in the US. So
Yeah.
it kind of felt like a no-brainer. Why would you not take that?
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Can I ask if you are on scholarship?
Not at the moment. Matt explained to me that you're a lot more likely to get a big scholarship in your second year.
Yeah. Do you have part scholarship then, like 50% or 60, something like that?
Um, I'm not actually 100% sure what's going on with it. I applied for like the whole scholarship thing through the school, and I still haven't heard back. So,
Yeah, yeah. There are also other ways you can get athletic scholarship, where your soccer or your sport will pay for the school side of things, like your tuition fees, books, and things like meals, like giving you a meal plan, three meals a day, 7 days a week, or 2 meals a day, 5 days a week, whatever the school sort of system is. So there's that athletic scholarship, but you can also get academic scholarship. So if you do well in your SATs and you get a high SAT score, then you may even be able to pull some academic money where the school will pay for your school, basically. So there's so many options, there's so many routes that you can take, and Matt's right. Like once you get there, once you do your first year, if you're a good student, you have good character, you play well, you train well, and you sort of do all the right things, and your coach will be able to see that and be able to put money into you, you know. So it's always tough when a coach brings in a new player that they don't know, and they're hesitant to put money into straight away. But once you get there, once he sees who you are and he knows or that she knows, oh, this kid's they're a good all-round character player. And so they're more likely to give you more scholarship money. So yeah.
yeah.
Um, okay, so do you know anyone at Indian Hills, or do you know of anyone that's been there before, or have you just spoken to any of your teammates who you'll be with this year?
Um, Not yet. I'm kind of going into it blind a little bit. I haven't even checked out the school that much yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably something I should get into.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, you got a bit of time. It's only May and you're heading over in probably early August, mid-August, maybe. Um, but once it comes time for that, I would look into uh, seeing what your school looks like, seeing some of the classes that they offer. Different colleges have different courses that they offer, and so different classes. Um, and I mean, you'll get a student advisor that will help you with the school side of things, like picking which classes that suit which times, like around your training schedule and games. Um, but yeah, sort of checking out the school, what it looks like, where it is, what's around it, any cool places to go or things to do, or fast food chains like Chipotle to go and check out, and yeah, and then have a look at the field, see what it looks like, and sort of suss things out, and I'm sure captains in your team will reach out to you and sort of organize things for you, because you got to think about, like, once I get to Iowa, how do I get from the airport to my dorm room? You know, you got to think about, like, oh, are there bed sheets there? You know, what kind of food am I going to have, that night, or like the next couple of days, or whatever. And yeah, just those little things. But you don't have to worry about that until, you know, right before you leave, basically. So,
Yeah.
so have you done your visa appointment? Have you done your SAT test, your I-20, all of that?
I didn't do an SAT or any like entrance exams. I
Mhm.
think I might have to do one or two when I get there, like in the open week.
An SAT test?
Um, not an SAT, but just like placement exam, something like that, when
Oh
I get
yeah.
to the school itself.
Yeah, I think maybe might have to take a math placement exam. I don't remember if I ever did. Um, I'm not sure, but I think you are exempt from the English ones, because Australia English is a first language, which is fine. But people from Iceland or any country that English is not their first language, they have to take a um, English placement exam just to see if they're competent in English. So I think
Yeah.
you'll be fine with that. But um, yeah, it might be worth taking an SAT exam before you go. Maybe speak to Matt about that, see if you need to take it. You might not have to, whatever works. But yeah, then you'll definitely have to get your visa. You'll have to go to a consulate, and you're from Brisbane, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think there is a US consulate in Brisbane. You'll have to fly
Yeah.
to Sydney or Melbourne for that. So which is a really straightforward interview. Like, it's super simple. Um, yeah, that one will be fine. But yeah, you'll have to go to Sydney or Melbourne for that. Um, but yeah, do you have any like concerns about the US? Like anything political, or anything about the college system that you're not sure about, or JUCOs, or 4-year colleges?
Um, yeah, yeah, sort of a little bit about the political side of things going on right now.
Yeah.
I've seen stories about students getting deported and stuff, but as long as I'm not involved in anything kind of shady or
Yeah.
protests, whatever, I'll be fine. So
Yeah, look, if deportation is it's tough, because obviously, if you have good character and you don't break the law, basically you'll be fine. But there are other things, like you have to stay um above the amount of credits that you need to, you know, take, or that you are required to take to be eligible to play and to be at school. So there are different levels. I can't remember exactly, but for JUCO, you need to stay, I think, above 24 credits in a year, so 12 a semester. And usually, there are some classes that are 2 credit worth, three, and then four, depending on the level of difficulty. So it's basically, it turns out to be like 3 or 4 or 5 classes per semester that you need to take. And the biggest issue with that is being international students and being on a visa, you have to stay above those credits. So if you fail at least one class, um, then and if you fall below that 12 credit um, per semester, then you're jeopardizing your visa. So not just your soccer spot, but also your visa spot, which gets you to stay in the US, gets you to stay at school and to be able to live in the US. So I don't want to throw my friend under the bus, but it happened to one of my friends. She was a master student, and I think it's for master students, it's 9 credits per semester. Um, so one less class, but they're master students. It's a bit more difficult. And anyway, she was only taking 9 credit classes. Like you can take another class and be safe in case you fail one, but she was only taking 9 credits, and she ultimately failed one class. It was a bit silly from the professor, but she failed one, and 5 days later she was issued a deportation letter from the school, and so she had to go back home for the rest of the semester, which was insane. It sucked, but it happens. It really does happen. Um, but sometimes it's uncontrollable. So, but
Yeah.
if you don't break the law, you'll be fine. And if you're a good student, you'll be fine, basically. It's
But
very,
if you do get deported in a way like that, is there a way back to the US or is that it?
yeah, you can come back. I think it's the very next semester you're able to. Um, But if you break the law, I think you have to spend at least 6 months away from the US until your visa can be reissued. So if you if you break the law in November, then you'll be deported and you won't be able to come back for the spring semester, which starts up in January. You'd have to wait for the following start of the next semester. So at least 6 months, which would be the following August.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the issue that, that poses with, breaking the law. But if with the credits and your classes, failing a class, like you can always get back into it. And your student advisors will help you. Like you'll get warnings if you're below the credit line, and that they'll tell you you need to pick it up. You need to get, certain percentage in your next exam to be able to stay on visa and stay at the school. So your student advisor will help you with that, and they'll be um, attentive to that, basically. Okay, so we have less than a minute. I'll ask you one more question. Um,
Yeah.
is there any advice that you would give another student athlete about if they thought about, heading off to college? What advice would you give them?
Well, the thing I was worried most about was my video with my football. Yeah, I stressed it way too much. As long as you have kind of you show that you're not a rubbish player, the opportunities will come. So don't stress about that too much.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate you jumping on here and talking about your experience now and what you'll be experiencing soon. So I'm excited for you. Keep us updated, and yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks.
All right, see ya.
See you later.